Hello, this is Tony Heller from RealClimateScience.com, setting the record straight about climate. In this video, I'm going to cover some basic science about forests and forest fires. This is a representation of a carbon dioxide molecule. The molecule consists of one carbon atom and two oxygen atoms. When you have both carbon and oxygen atoms in an atmosphere, this is the low energy stable state which they want to move towards. That's why 95% of the atmosphere of both Venus and Mars consists of carbon dioxide. But Earth is very different from Venus and Mars because we have liquid water and we have green plants. The process of photosynthesis combines sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water and produces plant growth and oxygen. Energy is required to break up a carbon dioxide molecule, and this energy comes from the sun. So as the plant grows, it removes carbon dioxide and adds oxygen to the atmosphere. And also as the plant grows, more and more solar energy gets stored in the plant's body. Through this process, over long periods of time, great forests can grow, like this one in Victoria, Australia. There's a century of solar energy stored in this forest. Eventually this forest will release its stored solar energy either through fire or decay. That's how forests operate. They go through cycles of growth and then cycles of burning. Forests used to burn a lot more often than they do now, but because of man-made fire suppression, we have fewer fires than we did in the past. This causes more fuel to build up on the ground, so when we do get fires, they tend to be much larger. Now let's look at the energy balance of plant growth and plant burning. These diagrams are from an 8th grade textbook. Plant growth is an endothermic reaction, meaning that energy is absorbed. In the case of plant growth, the energy comes from the sun. Burning, on the other hand, is an exothermic reaction, meaning that energy is released. When a forest burns, it is releasing stored solar energy. But forests don't just burn spontaneously. In order to start a fire, first you have to get the wood above an activation energy. That activation energy has to come from somewhere, like somebody lighting a match. And then this leads to a human reaction where journalists make fake images for propaganda purposes. And then these fake images lead clueless politicians to make ridiculous remarks. Bernie Sanders says, "I say to those who are delaying action on climate change, look at the blood-red sky and unbreathable air in Australia because of raging forest fires. Our futures are all connected. That is why we must bring the world together and enact a Green New Deal." Bernie believes that global communism will somehow change the laws of chemistry and physics. Angela Merkel made a similarly irrational rant, and Tony Abbott said, "The world is in the grip of a climate cult." It's good to see that there are still a few intelligent politicians around. This lack of understanding of science impacts people of all ages. We had a massive forest fire in 2011 near my hometown of Los Alamos, New Mexico. And then Grist magazine published this hysterical article. "The Southwest forest may never recover from mega fires." And they showed this picture of one of my favorite trails around Los Alamos. I've run on this trail dozens of times. And this is what that same trail looked like last summer, 6 years after the Grist article. I saw an amazing amount of butterflies in the burn area that day. Huge new aspen groves are filling in the burned hillsides. Climate alarmists don't understand much about science or nature, but they do have hysteria down to a fine art. Forest fires release huge amounts of stored solar energy. The forest can't burn again for many years because there's no more fuel. In order for the fuel to build back up, the forest has to again store decades worth of solar energy. BBC News reports that the Australia fires will be the new normal. Climate alarmists have been doing this after every fire for as long as I can remember. There's nothing new about these fires. They've been going on for as long as there's been forests. And the forest can't burn again until more fuel builds up over long periods of time. Climate alarmists do not seem to understand the concept of conservation of energy. Energy is neither created nor destroyed. It's the same reason they believe they can run civilization 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year off an intermittent energy source like solar energy. And their understanding of the environment is no better than their understanding of chemistry and physics. Forests were much healthier when regular small fires were allowed to burn. But now we put those small fires out and huge amounts of fuel load build up on the forest floor. So when we do get a fire, they tend to be very large. You can't fool Mother Nature. One way or another, the fires are going to come. This makes climate alarmists hysterical, and then they blame it on carbon dioxide molecules. They imagine that carbon dioxide is some kind of satanic gas, when in fact carbon dioxide is the basis of all life. Fear of carbon dioxide will be remembered as one of the greatest mass delusions of all time. Visit Toto on the web at realclimatescience.com. He's been pulling back the curtain on junk science and propaganda for a long time.